Hello, I'm Christina St. Clair. I'm a student at Appalachian State University. I'm in the Legal Environment of Business class, and I'm here to tell you what you need to know about Liebeck versus McDonald's restaurants. My introduction: this is commonly known as the hot coffee case, and this is one of the most misunderstood cases out there. I'm sure many of you have heard of this case. This is what is commonly heard. A woman picks up some coffee from a McDonald's drive-thru and either on purpose or on accident spills it on herself. Well, big deal, right? She ends up suing McDonald's and winning a whole lot of money for such a meaningless event, claiming that she didn't know the coffee would be hot or that it would be that hot. Now, this is what I thought once too, until I saw an interesting post about this picture. It's a picture of a Canadian coffee cup, and it says, "If this was another country, we'd have to tell you that this coffee may be hot. Good thing this is Canada." Well, this is kind of poking fun at the fact that America and some other countries may have so many warning labels on their products to try and avoid frivolous lawsuits. I'm here to tell you the truth about this specific case, which is not a frivolous lawsuit in my opinion. According to the New York Times' Bonnie Bertram, 79-year-old woman Stella Liebeck ordered coffee at a McDonald's drive-thru, spilled the coffee, and suffered severe burns. She then sued the company and was given a jury award of $2.9 million, which was later reduced to a more reasonable sum of $500,000. It was also mentioned that, from what has been reported, the woman was not acting recklessly, given any kind of reasonable assumption she might have made about the actual risk of what she chose to do. Even if coffee is expected to be hot, who would expect that spilled coffee would result in third-degree burns, which, by the way, are the worst kind of burns you can get on a significant portion of the body? I'm going to tell you a little more about the severity of the injury, which is very bad. According to Kevin Kane of the Journal of Consumer and Commercial Law, a vascular surgeon diagnosed Liebeck as having suffered full-thickness burns or third-degree burns over her inner thighs, perineum, buttocks, and genital and groin areas. These third-degree burns extended through to Liebeck's subcutaneous fat, muscle, and bone. While hospitalized for 8 days, Liebeck underwent skin grafting and later underwent debridement treatments. Liebeck was permanently disfigured and disabled for 2 years as a result of this incident. So she suffered quite a lot due to this incident that McDonald's was responsible for. And she had a lot of hospital bills that needed to be paid for. I'm sure it was extremely expensive going through this incident. Now, since many see this as a frivolous lawsuit, the topic of tort reform is commonly connected to it. Tort reform is meant to make it more difficult for injured people to file a lawsuit, or to make it more difficult for injured people to attain a jury trial. And it's meant to place limits on the amount of money that injured people receive in a lawsuit. So it could be doing either of these three things. And it's just meant to make it more difficult for people to be able to sue companies. It is intended to help avoid frivolous lawsuits. And the general public, being for the most part ignorant to the details of this case, most likely lean towards promoting tort reform due to what they think is a frivolous law case. And the excessive warning labels that came up were put into place to try and avoid more lawsuits, more of what people deemed as frivolous lawsuits. And some of them weren't. In this case, it was not. According to Perazzo, McDonald's coffee cups are labeled "Caution, contents hot." This is not only a warning for customers, but it is supposed to protect McDonald's from potential lawsuits. However, it didn't save them from Stella Liebeck's attorneys. So even with these warning labels in place, Liebeck was able to win a good sum of money due to McDonald's responsibility in this case. Now the hot coffee cups in McDonald's are labeled with multiple warnings in both English and Spanish. And some other fast food restaurants that also serve coffee to go have followed suit. They're trying to avoid having to pay up in lawsuits like this one, like Liebeck's case. And they're also trying to avoid frivolous lawsuits as well. So, is there a need for tort reform after this case? Was it too easy for Liebeck to sue? I mean, McDonald's had the warning labels in place, and they still lost a $500,000 case. In my opinion, no. Not due to this case. Many think so due to the misconceptions surrounding this famous case. But this case, in my opinion, was not at all frivolous. According to Stella Liebeck's own attorney, Ken Wagner, Liebeck bought a product, it was used as intended, it was unreasonably hot and therefore unreasonably dangerous. And those were the essential facts. So, as you can see, McDonald's is at fault in this case. These are facts many have not heard, which is why many are concerned with tort reform when it comes to this case. I'm going to tell you about a similar case that has happened more recently. There was an Applebee's diner back in 2010 that attempted to sue after he put his own face into his fajita plate. He was bowing his head in prayer, and he ended up with some burns. And the court case was immediately thrown out by the appellate court judge. In this case, it would have been frivolous had it went through. The fault lied with the man and not really with Applebee's, because Applebee's didn't place his face into the fajita dish. This was not the intended use for the product, and so the case was thrown out. So yeah, this would have been a frivolous case. This is not like the Liebeck case. So in conclusion, while I see that there is a need for tort reform in certain cases, like the Applebee's court case, the Liebeck versus McDonald's case really isn't a good example of why we should have the tort reform. At least not the true case. Stella Liebeck was very, very severely injured due to the negligence of the McDonald's restaurant, and she deserved compensation to cover the many medical expenses that were involved in the incident. She suffered a great deal, and if the rumors were true, I could see the reason for tort reform after this incident. But in this case, the coffee was not just hot, but it was dangerously hot, and therefore McDonald's was responsible, and it was fair for them to have to pay up. And here are my works cited, and thank you for listening.